So another cartridge history video. So this is Russian captured 8mm Mauser ammunition, and this was produced by Tekram, which I wouldn't be surprised if this is some kind of branch off of Fed Arms, because at least in my area you can't get Fed Arms, but the style of the bullet itself is very Fed Arms. If you look at the laser etching on the side of the cartridge, that is very Fed Arms. So I guess a little bit more on the actual cartridge itself. So it's 197.5 grain and it is lead core. And this ammo was refurbished, so it's non-corrosive. They switched out the primers to non-corrosive primers, and then they sold it on the commercial market. So how did this ammunition come about? So, at least from my research, this ammunition was produced for Romania for the Air Force in the 1930s. And Romania joined the Axis powers in the 1940s, but it had very strong alliances beforehand, and that's why this ammunition was produced in the 1930s. And they had actually joined in 1940. So they had a very strong alliance, and they used similar cartridges, everything like that. So, spoiler alert, Germany lost the war. So that means it lost all its alliances, and it lost all of its small satellite states that produced arms for it and ammunition and all of that. So this stuff probably just sat in a warehouse forever, and Tectrum or Fed Arms or whoever, I don't really know the backstory of that, produced this, and they refurbished this ammunition because this isn't brand new production ammunition. It isn't. All the components themselves scream World War II, and all of the only difference is that they switched out the primers. The powder's probably the same. The case even is probably the same, but they just switched out the primers because if you've shot surplus before, the only thing that'll give you issues really, I know there's some nuance there, is the primers. The primers will be duds, they'll give you hang fires, and they're corrosive. Anyway, so yeah, this is Romanian ammunition. So this stuff was refurbished, and it was intended to be used in all the Russian captured K98Ks in anticipation for a war that never happened. So once that war never happened, eventually, this stuff is very old, and it's in guns that are very old and very worn out and almost out of service at that point. And plus you have an AK-47. What would you rather have, a bolt action rifle or an AK-47? So it made sense that all of this stuff was just flooded into the commercial market, and that's why it's so cheap, or was anyway. Not in my area. I'm jealous of the people in the States, paying like 50 cents a round. This stuff can run up to $1.50 a shot. So yeah, this ammunition, I wouldn't be surprised if it was produced by Fed Arms. And another thing, all of this stuff was completely scrubbed of the head stamps. None of this stuff has the head stamps on it. I know with like Fed Arms stuff, you can occasionally find bullets that still have like German markings and stuff like that, but all of this was scrubbed, and I've checked all of it, and none of it has any markings. They scrubbed everything when they replaced the primer. But anyway, I just thought that was pretty cool, and why this ammunition actually existed, and yeah, just kind of the history, and that really interests me. I know the guns are interesting. I know the ammo itself is interesting, but I'm also really interested in how these alliances were formed and how this ammunition actually came to be, rather than just, oh, it exists, oh, it's, this will give you this X amount of velocity, whatever. That stuff is all good, but I'm also really interested in the history of these cartridges, because everybody cares about the guns, but you need the ammunition to feed said guns. So that's just my opinion. Anyway, thank you very much for watching.